These wildfires happen every year in California. We see it's wildfire season. They've mismanaged the forest floor once again. The brush fires, they've mismanaged it once again. The only issue now is that it's hit a major urban center with tons of people who live there, and these videos of people being trapped in their homes. You know, someone asked me, like, how do you get trapped in a fire? And I'm like, dude, the fire is traveling 90 miles an hour. You need to understand, with the winds blowing at that speed, you're sitting in your home, everything looks normal. Then all of a sudden you look outside and you see fire sweeping across the trees. And then you go, whoa, I don't know what I'm supposed to do right now. And so maybe you call 911 and say, hey, we're seeing fire sweep across it. Get out now. You open your door and there's an inferno in every direction. Some people end up getting trapped because of this.
So quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, there's a video of these guys running out their front door and the trees, the regular trees, are burning embers. Just like this tree was alive, and now it's so hot and the fire is so intense, the tree in front of your house is just literally a glowing ember.
You said that it was preventable. Now, and I think that's, so what I've heard is that PG&E, which is I think Pacific Gas and Electric, I don't know what the P stands for, gas and electric probably, they are in charge of running the power lines, and they tend to run them through highly wooded areas and don't clear out the brush. And because of that, the brush then can catch fire if like a power line goes down or if there's a spark. And that is reliant on, I don't know if PG&E is a government company, but it's supposed to be PG&E's responsibility, or it's the government is just allowed, because it's like, hey, we need power. We're not going to make you run a line all the way around the park. So yeah, you can run it through the trees. At what risk? And then now you're saying that also the diversion of the water, which has been going on since at least the early 1900s.
That's why they can't fight it. The diversion of the water doesn't really have a lot to do with why it may have started, whether it be PG&E, a PG&E line that broke and
is that what they think caused it?
I don't know. I'm only addressing what he had mentioned, which it's possible, completely and totally possible. I've heard stories that PG&E decided to not clean out the areas beneath the wires because it was not cost effective or whatever, that it would be less to, I don't know if they were talking about pay lawsuits or whatever, but I've heard that it was PG&E's fault. But at the end of the day, the state doesn't allow people to clean up or doesn't do anything to clean up the downfall and branches and brush. So at the end of the day, it does boil down to it's the state's fault because they're the ones that are supposed to be able to prevent this stuff.
California is an example of extraction. This is what happens when a beautiful state with some of the best weather, and it's large, it's massive. You go up north, you got mountains, you've got skiing and snowboarding. You go south, you got beaches. This is what happens when over a long enough period of time, good men do nothing. The government eventually gets taken over by people whose only intention is short-term extraction. When I was living in Los Angeles, everybody said NIMBY, not in my backyard. So they have what is described as it is the worst homeless crisis for the developed world in Los Angeles. And you'd ask everybody, why can't one of the wealthiest counties in the country do anything about it? Even though they spend $1 billion every year, and it's because the $1 billion goes to what they call the homeless industrial complex, where companies, nonprofits, and manufacturers take the money for themselves, don't solve the problem, and then when it comes to actual either institutionalization or affordable housing, every single well-to-do liberal type in LA goes, not in my backyard. So it never ends up getting done. Over a long enough period of time, as politicians simply extract, they tell you what you want to hear. They pass policies that increase their personal benefit. You get this. It is horrifying mismanagement. And you know the funny thing is, when you zoom out to the macro and you look at red states and red cities, you don't see it. We covered this a few years ago. You had per capita crime, all blue cities. And then when how come all of the highest crime cities are Democrat run? And they try and argue, well, it's because they're bigger. And I'm like, yeah. That doesn't mean anything. The question is, why are bigger cities more likely to be Democrat, and why are they full of crime? And if you want to argue, because they're big, they're full of crime, we're talking per capita. So you take a look at West Virginia, lower crime. Dark, deep red, regular working class people, crime is lower on average. So I got to tell you, what I see with the Democratic Party, not completely, but leaning towards. You look at a state of California, you don't need me to give you any examples. How is it possible that they don't manage their forest floors, that their fire hydrants ran out of water, the reservoirs weren't refilled, and the mayor is in Africa?
Yeah, that is crazy. She's not even there when it's all going on.
I mean, I guess
Africa. Like, what's she doing in Africa?
I guess she's flying back. So
And aren't they understaffed on their the firefighters as well?
because they were too concerned about hiring too many white firefighters. 2 years ago, they reported there were too many white firefighters.
Whoa.
You saw that story?
I didn't realize. No, I didn't see that. I didn't realize
Yeah.
that there was a DEI
Yeah, here we go.
angle on it. But God,
Dude.
damn.
Now, a lot of people on the left, they're saying you can't blame the mayor for being in Africa. No, there was a warning that went out a week ago saying fires were likely. And the mayor was like, I'm out. So I got to tell you guys, I don't think Republicans are perfect. I'm not making a comment on the Republican Party as a whole. There's a lot of neocon scumbags that don't care about you. No one's going to sit here and praise Lindsey Graham. But the Democratic Party is largely a component of short-term gains, long-term losses.
Yeah.
And we're looking at it right now. And people are losing their homes, their lives. And I can't believe this map, dude.
So there are people talking about the fact that there were a lot of people that didn't have insurance because I guess there was insurance like
They cut 'em all off.
companies. They cut them all off, and there are people are making connections to the insurance CEO that was killed recently in New York.
Well, let me, I want to jump to the environment thing too, but I'll just say this before we jump to the next story. All of these liberals are saying, see, it's climate change that proves it.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you've got a guy driving your bus and we're all sitting on it and he's gone off the edge of a cliff and he's just bouncing down the hill. And you're like, bro, you drove us off the cliff and you've got to start veering to the left to try and get back on some kind of road. And he goes, no, the actual problem is that the environment is bad. So we're going to keep going the same direction. They keep saying climate change is causing this as their policies literally make it impossible to stop.
They're the most pro climate change people as well, and it's
I know.
solving it.
So it's when they say climate change is the problem, look at the fires. I'm like, bro, it's California. Where have they implemented climate change policies more than where you live? And it is you are the cause of all of this.
And the thing about climate change or the climate change angle is even if there were to be all the changes that people on the left want in the U.S., like that doesn't change what China and India are going to do. And those two countries both have 1.5 billion people. So the argument that, oh, we need to do all these things here in the U.S. and we need to make all these changes to our infrastructure and stuff because we need to be able to fix climate change, it's not going to fix a thing, not one thing.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.